Hey, the purposes for this video are for entertainment and criticism. Take it, leave it, you do you. This video is not to give you an excuse to harass or bully the user in question, so do not treat it like it is. We do not condone witch hunting or harassment, so don't do it. Thank you, and enjoy the video. Hello everybody, my name is Yuji, and welcome back to another video! Today I'm going to be ranting about Bendy and the Ink Machine, because I don't think it's that great. It's interesting, sure, but it's still not that great. I've been wanting to review or rant about video games and movies and stuff for a while, but I just haven't found the motivation to sit down and write scripts, because depression. But it's 2021, I'm gonna try and be more productive this year. This is all going to be a lot of personal opinions. You're free to disagree with the things I have to say. I know I don't have the popular opinion. Now, spoiler warning, obviously if you for some reason haven't seen any gameplay or haven't played the game for yourself and you don't want anything spoiled for you, don't watch this video. Alright, let's get started. The most boring of the chapters, just a simple setup with a tiny little jump scare here and there, and then a fetch quest before... Oh, hi Mark. Before you fall down through the floor after trying to run away and escape. Although something that really bothers me, the dead Boris in the beginning, I don't think that should have been there. I think it should have been left out and just saved for chapter 3 when we go into Alice's area and find all those dead gutted ink creatures. I just really didn't see a point to having him there in that room other than to make the player go, oh shit, something's not right. But I feel like it would have been better to keep the first chapter the way it was, minus the Boris, and leave the oh shit, something's not right reactions to the little Bendy cutouts roaming around and the voice recordings you find till you finally see the full 3D Bendy. Another thing that's annoying about the game in general is the voice acting on Henry's part. This game is supposed to be scary, a horror game. And when playing, yeah, you feel a bit unsettled by things that you see in the game, but that feeling goes away whenever Henry opens his goddamn mouth. The voice actor did a very poor job. He sounds bored 95% of the time, like nothing that's happening to the character is affecting him at all, and it's obnoxious. I know another game is supposed to come out eventually, Bendy and the Dark Revival, and I really hope either they don't have that voice actor in the game, or he's improved his voice acting since Bendy. With how little the character talks, his lines are important to get right, or it could ruin the atmosphere you're trying to build. So the character wakes up in the middle of a pentagram, finds an axe, and moves on to the music department area. Now, a minor thing, but I honestly think it would have been better to rearrange the order of Sammy's clips and where you find them. Slowly build up to the player finding the clips and hearing him slowly go more crazy with the whole Bendy worship thing. I feel like it would have been better for the Sammy reveal. Just hearing him go from a totally normal dude to a crazy cultist, and then you see him and get napped by him. Oh, also, when Sammy says, I said, can I get an amen in your ear? That clip that triggers that audio could be saved for very last. After you find Sammy's sanctuary, which by the way the design for his sanctuary is boring, you had the opportunity to make it a full-on altar and you didn't take it. I'm disappointed. And you drain the stairs, and getting ready to move on, you just barely move past the music department area and find that clip of Sammy triggering the audio, can I get an amen? Then you get whacked upside the head by Sammy and napped. Now, in order to get from one area to another, you have to drain the stairs of ink, and it just doesn't make any sense. Ink is basically water. And I know the ink in the game is obviously thicker and dangerous, but it's still dumb. I know you have to give the player things to do, but this is just bad design. Instead of draining the stairs, maybe because later in the game you find that little machine that lets you make pipes and other objects out of ink, implying everything past the main part of the studio is just made of ink. Have something else blocking the stairs, like chains or a metal door. And the way to access these areas is to discover certain things in the environment to piece together parts of the story and what happened. Joey says in the beginning and the end of the game that he wants Henry to go to the old workshop because he has something to show him. That something being the ink machine and what had happened to the studio after Henry left. And these blocked off areas only open after discovering voice clips or other things leading you around and making you discover these things to better understand what is going on. Or another idea, if you want to keep the ink being the thing that's blocking areas off and having to drain areas to access them, the ink puddles that are blocking areas off have arms come out of them whenever you try to step on them and you end up getting attacked. That way you have to get rid of the ink in order to move on. Or you could combine this idea and the previous one of discovering things throughout the area to unlock the next. Have the ink blocking everything off and you're attacked every time you try to bypass it. And once you've discovered everything that needs to be discovered, the ink just drains away through the floorboards. Okay, so everybody who has seen this game knows about Chapter 3's obnoxious, unnecessary length. Instead of just lengthy fetch quests, this time could have been given to Henry and Boris becoming friends. That way, it could have had more of an impact when Boris gets captured. It's implied by the little scorekeeper paper on the table that they've spent some time together. I don't know, I just feel like when you suddenly wake up in the safe house and then leave and Boris follows you, when he eventually gets taken by Alice, it's not a, oh no, Boris my friend moment. It's more like a, oh, well, must suck to be Boris. You know, it just wasn't as impactful as it could have been, and it bothers me. Now, you could have shown them getting to know each other in the safe room, or you could have had Boris help you with the fetch quest. The fetch quest, which would need to be changed, instead of going back and forth all those times to get all those different items, have Alice give you a list of the first items she needs, get like maybe 3 of each item, go back, give that to Alice, have the fight scene with the ink monsters, then go to the lower levels to get the hearts because she forgot to add them to her list. Now, another thing. When we finally talk to Alice, we enter this big room filled with dead ink creatures, and later after you finish her fetch quest, she refuses to let you leave because you have Boris with you, and she needs him because he's the most perfect Boris she's ever seen. But if you look at all those dead Boris creatures in that room, they all look the same as our Boris. I think each Boris in that room should have had a different model. Change some things on them to make them less perfect looking. It's a small thing, I know, it would have taken a lot of extra work, but I think it would have been cool to have all these misshapen Borises she's killed just out on display. And this is where the game starts to go downhill. The first 2 chapters are fine, I can ignore my personal gripes with those 2 chapters and just enjoy them, but from chapter 3 onward, I hate the direction they went in with the final chapters, and they make me angry.
Alright, Joey. I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see.
Up until the ending of this chapter, which I hate, but we'll get to that, this chapter is meh. When you walk into the accounting room and hear that clip of the person like gasping and screaming, I personally think it would have been cool to have the accounting person start off talking like panicked, maybe rambling about the ink and how it's consuming everyone or something, then have them start choking and screaming and dying before getting cut off, and all you hear from the tape is the sounds of the ink sloshing around in white noise. And that's all you're able to hear for a few seconds until the tape just runs out and stops. I suggest this because the staff have been recording voice memos and such for whatever reason, and this clip is just here to be scary. Like, it starts off with the weird noises and then just shuts off. Like, someone started and stopped recording, and I don't like it when random things are thrown in like that just because, ooh, scary recording. Sometimes I can forgive it, but I just did not like the addition of it here because it didn't make any sense. And if you were to add the clip of a man talking and rambling scared out of his wits about what was happening, it would have given some more info on the story or backstory of the studio when it got consumed by ink. Also, I'm not a huge fan of the Bertmont mini boss fight. Like, it's cool, I guess, and at least it's pretty easy to get through as long as you know what to do, but I just didn't like it or think it was necessary. But I digress. Oh, do I hate the ending of this chapter. It is just so unbelievably stupid. Like, oh, well, killed Boris, now Alice is running at you with her arms stretched out, screaming in rage. But, oh, well, what's this? Oh, would you look at that? Nice Alice and another Boris pop out of fucking nowhere and kill evil Alice for you. Like, Jesus, you couldn't have thought of a better transition for that. Like, here's an idea. When Boris finally dies and you get down on your knees and watch him wither away, have the voice actor say in a sad voice, "Oh, Boris," and have him sit there for a moment. Hear the screaming of Alice. Don't have the character stand. Quickly look over and she's on top of you, choking you, and screaming at you to die. Maybe add her slamming your head into the ground while she's got a hold on you. Then, nice Alice stabs her and saves you, and just as you see them, you black out. Boom! Better fucking transition to them just showing the fuck up out of literally nowhere, and it makes more sense for the opening of chapter 5. I'm sorry, the ending of this chapter made me really mad, and I don't like it. That, and I just really don't like the design for Brute Boris. I think it's tacky. Is tacky the word? I don't know, but I don't like it. It's just Boris, but super buff, which I noticed is a weird thing for this game. For bosses, they just buff up the character instead of trying to make the design scary or disturbing. Which, don't get me wrong, big buff things can be freaky. The Nomu from Boku no Hero, the Titans from SNK, the Charger from Left 4 Dead. But the Boris and final Bendy designs are just bad. Now, I found a redesign for Brute Boris, and I think it's a much better design than the canon one. This design is by Leaf Fall Down on Tumblr. It's a beautiful design. I love it, and their art is great. Go check them out. I hate this chapter a lot. Like, I get they had to wrap it up because it was the last chapter, but the story got so rushed because they didn't pace anything out properly, and it makes me mad. What was with the opening? Why would Alice and Tom bring Henry back to their base if they didn't trust him or thought he was dangerous? Pity? Okay, I can kind of accept that answer, especially since Alice seems really nice. But still, you bring someone you don't trust and think might be a danger to you back to the place you're hiding? Yeah, they're in a makeshift cell, but I want you to look me in the eye and tell me that was a good idea on their parts. Like, what if Henry was dangerous? When the hell has locking up a dangerous person in the area you're hiding out in gone well for anyone? In like a game or a TV show? Oh, and can we just talk about Alice giving you the hidden ink mirror? Why would she give that to him? Like, I don't know, I just thought it was weird, and while the mirror is cool, I also think it was just kind of weird to just throw it in the game, but whatever, it's fine, I guess. Okay, so after those first bits of the cutscene showing you kind of just living with Tom and Alice, the ink demon shows up, and they just leave you there to die. Like, that makes me mad for one reason. Tom actively made the decision to not break the wooden planks trapping Henry. He busted down a metal door later in the chapter, but like very soon after they leave and you have the mini boss fight with Sammy, Tommy saves you and is suddenly okay with you? Like, I'm fucking sorry. What? Tom has made it very clear, very clear in the short time he's known you that he doesn't trust you, but he then just saves you and is okay with you all of a sudden? That doesn't make any sense. If I were Tom, the fact that Alice and I just left this dude locked up in his cell to die, the fact that he just miraculously survived the ink demon, even though when we left him, he was again locked up with no weapon, I would be even more suspicious of him. I get hindsight is 2020, and I'm sure that during the development of this game, issues like these just weren't noticed, but it doesn't make me any less upset. Now after the fight with Sammy, another thing that doesn't make any sense to me is all of the searchers and lost ones attacking you just out of nowhere. Like, that wouldn't bother me as much because searchers have been attacking you throughout the entire game. But they just go on to say Sammy was holding them back, like stopping them from attacking you or something, which doesn't make any sense. They were just looking for excuses to have more fights in the last chapter just because. Fighting all of those lost ones was not necessary. Maybe it could have been made necessary if you defeat Sammy. Tom doesn't save you, you just kind of save yourself. And then Tom and Alice show up like, hey, you're still alive. Alice happy about it, and Tom in the background just kind of glaring at you. And then the lost ones attack you. And you help Tom and Alice with the fight and save Alice near the end of the fight to build trust with Tom. After that little bit, I don't really have an issue up until we enter Bendy's lair. My god, was that boss fight awful. It wasn't even a fight. You're just running away from Bendy while you complete some tasks which have no meaning. They're just there to give you something to do before the end of the game. Like, I'm not opposed to the final boss fight not being a fight, but just running away from the boss. What would have been cool is if you had to run and hide from Bendy while trying to circle back around to his throne. Like, you find a map showing you where you need to go. The whole area is dark and inky, like in that little office area right before the vault. And the whole point is to not confront Bendy because he's too strong, so you have to sneak by him. For this, you would have to scrap Bendy's final design and keep it to a skinny form because that can chase after you just fine. And then when you finally make your way back to Bendy's throne and put the end reel in, have Bendy show up behind you, grab you by the throat, and bring you closer, and then his mouth starts to open up, his teeth get sharper, he's about to bite your head off, and then the reel starts up. And in shock, he drops you looking at the screen and then starts to die. That would be so tense and perfect for a boss encounter. And then the ending cutscene happens. You're in Joey's house and he's talking to you. Then the asshole says, "You were always pushing me to do the right thing. You should have pushed a little harder." Like, piss off, man. It's not my fault you're a greedy wanktastic bastard. Rude. And then we loop back to the beginning of the game. The end. I don't know, the game is interesting and has an interesting world built around it, but overall, I just did not like the execution for the final chapters, nor did I like the final designs for Bendy and Boris. I get the developers wanted to leave everything super open-ended and mysterious, but my god, were several lines crossed. They tried way too hard to make it mysterious and just ended up making the story kind of horrible. Honestly, watching through this so many times, I feel like the whole game wasn't even planned before they started making chapters. It was just kind of made up as they went along, which is never a good idea. No idea if that's actually the case or not, but that's the general vibe I got from the game. Again, you're free to disagree with anything I said in this video. It's all just my opinions on the game and how it was executed. I hope the next Bendy game is better than the first, but I guess we'll just have to wait until the next game is released to find out. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you are new. Check out all of our social media down in the description below. I'm Yuji, and we are Constructive Criticism, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.